Question 1. During a major transformation where existing methods of corporate governance are being evaluated, a publicly traded company is considering the implications of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX, on its internal controls and financial reporting. Which of the following statements correctly describes a key requirement under SOX? A. The EO and CFO must personally certify the accuracy of financial statements and internal controls, and they can face criminal liability for willful misstatements. B. Public companies must rotate their external auditors every 3 years to prevent conflicts of interest. C. Companies are required to obtain shareholder approval before implementing internal control procedures under Section 404. D. SOX allows executives to avoid penalties for false financial reports if they were not directly involved in their preparation. Answer A. The EO and CFO must personally certify the accuracy of financial statements and internal controls, and they can face criminal liability for willful misstatements. Explanation. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX, of 2002 was enacted to improve corporate governance and increase financial transparency in publicly traded companies. Under Section 302, the EO and CFO must personally certify the accuracy of financial statements and internal controls. If they knowingly sign fraudulent financial reports, they can face criminal penalties, including fines and imprisonment. A. Correct. SOX holds executives personally accountable for financial reports, and misstatements can result in criminal liability under Sections 302 and 906. B. Incorrect. SOX does not mandate a strict auditor rotation every 3 years, though it does impose restrictions on non-audit services and requires increased auditor independence. C. Incorrect. Section 404 requires companies to assess and report on internal controls over financial reporting, but it does not mandate shareholder approval for implementing these controls. D. Incorrect. SOX does not allow executives to escape liability simply because they were not directly involved. Ignorance is not a defense, as executives must certify financial statements. This question tests a deep understanding of corporate governance and executive accountability under SOX, which is crucial for securities regulation. Question 2. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in market manipulation cases, regulators are investigating a hedge fund for alleged violations of Rule 10.5 under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. Which of the following would constitute a violation of Rule 10.5? A. A company executive accidentally leaks confidential earnings information in a private conversation with an analyst. B. A broker recommends an investment based on public information that later turns out to be misleading, but the broker was unaware of the inaccuracy. C. A trader engages in spoofing by placing large buy orders to artificially inflate stock prices, only to cancel them before execution. D. A hedge fund man executes a short-selling strategy based on publicly available market trends. Correct answer. C. A trader engages in spoofing by placing large buy orders to artificially inflate stock prices, only to cancel them before execution. Explanation. Rule 10.5 under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 prohibits fraud, misrepresentation, and market manipulation in securities transactions. Violations include insider trading, material misstatements, and manipulative trading practices. A. Incorrect. Accidental disclosures do not constitute a Rule 10.5 violation unless they are intentionally deceptive or improperly exploited for personal gain. B. Incorrect. A broker who unknowingly distributes false information is generally not liable under Rule 10.5 unless there was intent to defraud. Scienter. C. Correct. Spoofing, form of market manipulation, is illegal. It involves placing large orders without intent. Execute, deceiving other traders about market demand, which violates Rule 10.5. D. Incorrect. Short selling based on public information is legal. Rule 10.5 violations require fraudulent intent or deceptive conduct. This question ensures students grasp manipulative trading tactics, key issue in securities enforcement. Question 3. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical fundraising needs, an early-stage technology startup is considering different avenues for raising capital. Which of the following fundraising methods is exempt from full SEC registration under the Securities Act of 1933? A. A direct public offering where securities are sold to the general public without SEC oversight. B. A Regulation D Rule 506. B. Private placement, allowing an unlimited number of accredited investors and up to 35 non-accredited investors to participate. C. An APO where securities are offered to the public and registered with the SEC. D. A secondary market transaction where existing shareholders sell their stock to retail investors. Answer: B. A Regulation D. Rule 506. B. Private placement, allowing an unlimited number of accredited investors and up to 35 non-accredited investors to participate. Explanation: the Securities Act of 1933 requires securities to be registered with the SEC unless an exemption applies. Regulation D, Reg D, provides an exemption for private placements, reducing compliance burdens for startups and companies. A. Incorrect. There is no such thing as a direct public offering without SEC oversight. Any public sale of securities requires SEC registration unless an exemption applies. B. Correct. Regulation D, Rule 506. B. Allows private placements with an unlimited number of accredited investors and up to 35 non-accredited investors if they are sophisticated. This exempts the offering from full SEC registration. C. Incorrect. An APO is a public offering requiring SEC registration and disclosures under the Securities Act of 1933. D. Incorrect. Secondary market transactions involve existing shares changing hands, but they do not constitute a capital raising event that would qualify for exemptions under the Securities Act. This question emphasizes the nuances of capital formation and the registration exemptions under federal securities law. Question 4. During a critical transition period where existing processes must be reassessed to ensure compliance with securities laws, a financial advisory firm is expanding its services to include private placements. The firm intends to rely on Regulation D of the Securities Act of 1933 to offer securities to accredited investors. However, during a recent audit, the SEC raised concerns about potential solicitation practices, investor qualification procedures. Which of the following statements correctly outlines the firm's regulatory obligations under Regulation D? A. The firm can engage in general solicitation and advertising for private placements under Rule 506. B. Provided that investors sign disclaimer acknowledging they understand the risks. B. Under Rule 506. C. General solicitation is permitted, but the firm must take reasonable steps to verify that all purchasers are accredited investors. C. The firm may sell securities to an unlimited number of non-accredited investors under Regulation D, as long as they receive the same information as accredited investors. D. There are no restrictions on investor qualifications for private placements under Regulation D, as long as the firm provides full disclosure of material risks. Answer: B. Under Rule 506. C. General solicitation is permitted, but the firm must take reasonable steps to verify that all purchasers are accredited investors. Explanation: Regulation D under the Securities Act of 1933 provides exemptions from full registration requirements for private placements. Rule 506(b) does not permit general solicitation, meaning firms must market securities. Private networks. However, Rule 506 C does allow general solicitation, provided that the issuer takes reasonable steps to verify that each investor is accredited. E.g., reviewing tax returns, bank statements, or letters from financial institutions. Option A is incorrect because Rule 506(b) does not allow general solicitation, even if investors acknowledge risks. Option C is incorrect because Rule 506(b) limits non-accredited investors to 35 and they must receive specific disclosure information. Option D is incorrect as Regulation D imposes investor qualification requirements to ensure that only sophisticated investors participate. Relevant laws and guidelines. Securities Act of 1933, Regulation D exemptions, Rule 506(b) versus Rule 506(c) of Regulation D. Investor accreditation standards, SEC Rule 501, verification methods for accredited investors. Question 5. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise from increased scrutiny on insider trading regulations, a hedge fund executive receives material non-public information (MPI) about an upcoming merger. A close friend, who is a corporate insider at the target company, discloses that a merger agreement is imminent. The executive then purchases shares of the target company before the announcement, making substantial profits once the deal is public. Which of the following legal principles best describes the executive's liability under U.S. securities laws? A. The executive is liable under the classical theory of insider trading because they received MPI from friend who was corporate insider. B. The executive is not liable if they had no contractual or fiduciary duty to the target company's shareholders. C. The misappropriation theory does not apply in this case because the executive did not directly misappropriate information from their own firm. D. Liability for insider trading only applies if the executive was personally involved in negotiating the merger deal. Answer A. The executive is liable under the classical theory of insider trading because they received MPI from a friend who was a corporate insider. Explanation. The classical theory of insider trading holds that a corporate insider breaches a duty to shareholders by trading in MPI. However, under Dirks v. Sec. 1983 and United States v. O'Hagan 1997, tippies such as the hedge fund executive held liable if they knew or should have known that the insider breached fiduciary duty by disclosing the information. Option B is incorrect because the duty extends beyond contractual relationships. Trading on improperly obtained MPI is sufficient for liability. Option C is incorrect because while the misappropriation theory applies to outsiders, the classical theory also holds the executive liable. Option D is incorrect because direct involvement in negotiations is not required. Trading in MPI alone is enough for liability. Relevant laws and guidelines. Securities Exchange Act of 1934, Section 10b and Rule 10.5 Classical versus Misappropriation Theories of Insider Trading, Dirks v. Sec. 1983 and United States v. O'Hagan 1997, Tippy Liability Rules. Question 6. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in compliance reporting, an investment firm discovers discrepancies in its disclosures under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940. The firm has been advertising its portfolio returns to prospective clients using back-tested data without fully disclosing the methodology used. A regulatory examination by the SEC raises concerns about misleading performance claims. Of the following actions would best align with the firm's obligations under SEC advertising and marketing rules? A. The firm could continue using back-tested data as long as it includes general disclaimer stating that past performance does not guarantee future results. B. The firm must provide detailed disclosures about the assumptions, risks, and limitations of the back-tested model to comply with SEC requirements. C. There are no SEC rules governing the use of back-tested data, so the firm has no compliance obligations in this case. D. The firm may use actual historical returns in advertisements, and back-tested results are prohibited in all cases. Answer. B. The firm must provide detailed disclosures about the assumptions, risks, and limitations of the back-tested model to comply with SEC requirements. Explanation. The Investment Advisors Act of 1940 imposes strict advertising rules to prevent misleading performance claims. Under SEC Marketing Rule 206.4. 1. Investment firms using hypothetical or back-tested data must include detailed disclosures explaining the methodology, assumptions, and risks to ensure transparency. Option A is incorrect because a general disclaimer alone is insufficient. Firms must disclose specific details about the data used. Option C is incorrect because the SEC explicitly regulates the use of hypothetical performance. Option D is incorrect because back-tested data is permitted if properly disclosed, but not outright prohibited. Irrelevant laws and guidelines. Investment Advisors Act of 1940, Rule 206.4.1, SEC Marketing Rule, SEC Guidelines on Hypothetical Performance Data, Prohibition of False or Misleading Advertisements. Question 7. Faced with the complexity of overlapping regulatory frameworks, a multinational investment bank is evaluating its obligations under the Bank Secrecy Act, BSA, and anti-money laundering (ML) regulations. The firm recently discovered a pattern of large cash deposits from an international client with no clear business purpose, raising potential red flags for money laundering. Which of the following actions best aligns with the compliance obligations under BSOML laws? A. The firm must immediately freeze the client's accounts and terminate the relationship regardless of further investigation. B. The firm should file suspicious activity report (SAR) with FinCEN and continue monitoring the client's transactions for further irregularities. C. The firm is only required to take action if law enforcement agencies directly request information about the client's transactions. D. The firm may process the transactions since it has no proof of criminal activity. Answer. B. The firm should file a suspicious activity report (SAR) with FinCEN and continue monitoring the client's transactions for further irregularities. Explanation. Under the Bank Secrecy Act, BSA and anti-money laundering regulations, financial institutions must implement risk-based compliance programs to detect and report suspicious activity. When encountering unexplained large cash deposits, firms should file suspicious activity reports with FinCEN while continuing to monitor the client's transactions. Option A is incorrect because immediate account termination is not always required. Due diligence and reporting obligations take priority. Option C is incorrect because firms must proactively monitor and report suspicious activity, not just react to law enforcement requests. Option D is incorrect because financial institutions are required to investigate and report potential money laundering risks even without absolute proof. Relevant laws and guidelines. Bank Secrecy Act BSA 31 U.S.C. 5311-5332 FinCEN reporting requirements, AML compliance and suspicious activity reporting. Customer due diligence CDD and know your customer KIC rules. Question 8. In anticipation of potential liabilities arising from cybersecurity breaches, a registered broker-dealer is reviewing its compliance with SEC Regulation SB and FINRA Rule 4370. The firm recently suffered a data breach in which hackers gained access to client social security numbers and account balances. Which of the following actions would best demonstrate the firm's commitment to regulatory compliance and protection? A. The firm should notify affected customers and implement enhanced cybersecurity controls to mitigate future risks. B. The firm can avoid regulatory penalties by keeping the breach confidential unless clients independently discover the incident. C. Since the breach was caused by an external attack, the firm is not responsible for protecting customer data. D. The firm may continue its operations without modifications as long as no evidence of financial harm to customers. Answer. A. The firm should notify affected customers and implement enhanced cybersecurity controls to mitigate future risks. Explanation. Under SEC Regulation SB, Privacy Rule, and FINRA Rule 4370, business continuity plans, broker-dealers must safeguard customer information and respond appropriately to security breaches. The firm should notify affected customers and strengthen its cybersecurity framework to prevent future incidents. Option B is incorrect because failure to disclose breaches violates customer protection obligations. Option C is incorrect because firms remain responsible for safeguarding data regardless of external threats. Option D is incorrect because cybersecurity compliance requires proactive risk mitigation, not just damage assessment. Relevant laws and guidelines. SEC Regulation SB, Privacy of Consumer Financial Information, FINRA Rule 4370, Business Continuity Planning, Data Breach Notification Requirements, Cybersecurity Risk Management for Broker-Dealers. Question 9. Recognizing the risks associated with conflicts of interest, a financial advisory firm is reviewing its policies on fiduciary duties under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940. A senior advisor is recommending proprietary funds to clients without disclosing that they generate higher commissions for the firm. Which of the following statements best describes the firm's compliance obligations under fiduciary duty rules? A. The advisor must disclose conflicts of interest and obtain client consent before recommending proprietary funds. B. Since the proprietary funds are legitimate investment products, the advisor has no duty to disclose financial incentives. C. The firm can avoid liability if it includes generic conflict of interest statement in its client agreements. D. Conflicts of interest only apply to fee-based advisors, not commission-based advisors. Answer. 8. The advisor must disclose conflicts of interest and obtain client consent before recommending proprietary funds. Explanation. Under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940, investment advisors have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interests of their clients. This includes full disclosure of conflicts of interest, particularly when recommending proprietary products that generate additional compensation for the firm. Option B is incorrect because failure to disclose financial incentives is a violation of fiduciary duty. Option C is incorrect because a generic conflict statement is insufficient. Firms must provide specific disclosures for each conflict. Option D is incorrect because all investment advisors, whether fee-based or commission-based, must disclose conflicts. Relevant laws and guidelines. Investment Advisors Act of 1940, Fiduciary Duty Rules, Second FINRA Conflict of Interest Regulations, SEC Rule 206, 4. 1. Advertising and conflict disclosure. Question 10. As part of a firm-wide effort to enhance compliance with derivatives regulations, a hedge fund is reviewing its obligations under the Commodity Exchange Act. C. The fund engages in swaps and futures trading, but recent transactions have raised concerns about market manipulation and position limits. Which of the following actions best aligns with the hedge fund's regulatory responsibilities? A. The firm should ensure compliance with CAEC position limits and reporting requirements for all derivatives transactions. B. As long as the firm operates as private fund, it is exempt from all ETC regulations. C. The firm can use non-public market data for trading decisions without restriction. D. Market manipulation rules only apply to exchanges, not individual traders. Answer. A. The firm should ensure compliance with the ETC position limits and reporting requirements for all derivatives transactions. Explanation. Under the Commodity Exchange Act, C, and ETC regulations, hedge funds engaging in swaps and futures must comply with position limits, reporting rules, and anti-manipulation provisions. Firms must ensure that trading strategies do not violate CETC position limits and that accurate reporting is submitted. Option B is incorrect because private funds are still subject to CETC oversight if they trade derivatives. Option C is incorrect because using non-public market data for trading can violate insider trading and market abuse rules. Option D is incorrect because market manipulation laws apply to both individual traders and exchanges. Relevant laws and guidelines. Commodity Exchange Act C7 U.S. C1 at SEC CETC position limits and trade reporting rules. Market manipulation and anti-fraud provisions, Dodd-Frank Act, swaps and derivatives oversight. Question 11. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment where different teams must align their workflows, a global financial institution is introducing automated fraud detection algorithms across its operations. However, some regional offices have raised concerns about false positives and the potential for legitimate transactions being flagged. Which of the following strategies would best help the institution address these concerns while maintaining compliance with financial regulations? A. Adjust fraud detection thresholds for each regional office to reduce false positives, even if it results in less consistency. B. Develop a standardized approach with a secondary manual review process for flagged transactions. C. Allow regional offices to override fraud detection alerts without centralized oversight. D. Focus solely on reducing false positives, as false negatives, missed fraud cases are less critical to bid operations. Answer. B. Develop a standardized approach with a secondary manual review process for flagged transactions. Explanation. To balance fraud detection accuracy with operational efficiency, firms should adopt a structured review process that maintains compliance with financial regulations. A standardized approach with secondary manual review ensures that legitimate transactions are not unnecessarily blocked while still catching fraudulent activity. Option A is incorrect because regional inconsistencies can create regulatory risks. Option C is incorrect because uncontrolled overrides can lead to compliance violations. Option D is incorrect because false negatives, missed fraud, can result in significant financial losses and regulatory scrutiny. Question 12. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be addressed simultaneously, an international corporation is transitioning to a new enterprise resource planning ERP system. Some departments report inefficiencies due to incomplete data migration, while others struggle with system compatibility issues. Which of the following best supports a smooth transition to the new system while minimizing operational disruptions? A. Proceed with full implementation immediately, addressing problems as they arise. B. Develop a staged rollout plan with real-time monitoring and cross-departmental feedback. C. Abandon the new ERP system and return to legacy processes. D. Require each department to independently resolve system issues without centralized coordination. Answer. B. Develop a staged rollout plan with real-time monitoring and cross-departmental feedback. Explanation. A staged rollout with real-time monitoring allows companies to identify and mitigate problems early, ensuring smoother adoption and minimal operational disruptions. Option A is incorrect because unplanned full implementation increases the risk of system failure. Option C is incorrect because reverting to legacy systems prevents progress. Option D is incorrect because lack of coordination can lead to fragmented operations. Question 13. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a hospital system experiences a major cybersecurity breach that affects patient records, scheduling systems, and billing platforms. Which immediate action should the hospital take to ensure compliance with HIPAA regulations while mitigating the impact of the breach? A. Shut down all affected systems and notify regulators, staff, and patients immediately. B. Conduct an internal risk assessment, isolate compromised systems, and implement emergency backup procedures. C. Ignore the breach unless external authorities request an investigation. D. Focus only on restoring system functionality without investigating the cause of the breach. Answer: B. Conduct an internal risk assessment, isolate compromised systems, and implement emergency backup procedures. Explanation: HIPAA regulations require a risk-based approach to handling data breaches, isolating affected systems, performing an internal risk assessment, and activating backup procedures ensure patient care continuity and compliance. Option A is incorrect because immediate full shutdown may disrupt critical medical operations. Option C is incorrect because proactive response is required under HIPAA. Option D is incorrect because understanding the breach is necessary for preventing future incidents. Question 14. While investigating a complicated issue between different operational teams, a logistics company notices a recurring delay in supply chain deliveries across multiple regions. Some teams blame inefficient routing algorithms, while others cite warehouse mismanagement as the cause. Which of the following approaches would be most effective in identifying and resolving the root cause of these delays? A. Implement real-time tracking and data analytics to measure delays at different supply chain points. B. Assign blame to specific teams and enforce stricter performance targets. C. Reduce the number of distribution centers to simplify the supply chain. D. Increase delivery quotas without addressing underlying inefficiencies. Answer: A. Implement real-time tracking and data analytics to measure delays at different supply chain points. Explanation: real-time tracking and data-driven decision-making allow companies to pinpoint bottlenecks and optimize supply chain performance. Option B is incorrect because assigning blame without identifying the root cause does not solve systemic issues. Option C is incorrect because reducing distribution centers might create more logistical problems. Option D is incorrect because higher quotas without efficiency improvements can increase operational strain. Question 15. During a major transformation where existing methods are being replaced with digital solutions, a government agency is shifting to a paperless documentation system. However, staff members accustomed to manual processes resist the change, citing concerns about data security and usability. What is the best strategy to ensure successful digital adoption while addressing these concerns? A. Provide comprehensive training and phased implementation to help employees transition gradually. B. Force immediate adoption with strict penalties for non-compliance. C. Offer employees the option to continue using manual processes indefinitely. D. Allow only senior management to access the new digital system. Answer: A. Provide comprehensive training and phased implementation to help employees transition gradually. Explanation: a phased approach with proper training ensures that employees can adapt to new systems without resistance while addressing security and usability concerns. Option B is incorrect because forcing adoption without preparation leads to higher resistance. Option C is incorrect because dual systems create inefficiencies. Option D is incorrect because restricting access limits the system's effectiveness. Question 16. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple departments, a manufacturing company notices a decline in productivity despite implementing automation technologies. Supervisors report frequent machine breakdowns and communication gaps between engineering and production teams. Which of the following measures would best resolve this issue? A. Establish cross-department collaboration sessions to improve communication and maintenance coordination. B. Remove automation technologies and revert to manual production processes. C. Fire employees who report inefficiencies to encourage discipline. D. Ignore the issue and assume productivity will improve over time. Answer: A. Establish cross-department collaboration sessions to improve communication and maintenance coordination. Explanation: collaboration between engineering and production ensures that maintenance schedules, automation adjustments, and workflow optimizations are properly aligned. Option B is incorrect because reverting to manual processes negates the benefits of automation. Option C is incorrect because penalizing employees for raising concerns discourages improvement. Option D is incorrect because ignoring the problem does not address underlying inefficiencies. Question 17. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, a pharmaceutical company finds that a newly developed drug does not perform consistently across different test groups. Scientists suspect variations in environmental factors, dosage administration, or patient demographics. Which approach would be most effective in identifying the source of the inconsistency? A. Conduct controlled studies isolating key variables such as dosage, environment, and demographics. B. Assume the inconsistencies are due to human error and proceed with clinical trials. C. Adjust the drug formulation without further research. D. Disregard test results and move forward with production. Answer: A. Conduct controlled studies isolating key variables such as dosage, environment, and demographics. Explanation: controlled studies help identify which factors contribute to variations in drug performance, ensuring that scientific data supports regulatory approvals. Option B is incorrect because clinical trials require reliable data. Option C is incorrect because changing formulations without analysis can introduce new problems. Option D is incorrect because ignoring inconsistencies can lead to safety risks. Question 18. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, an aerospace engineering firm is developing a next-generation aircraft system that requires integration between hardware, software, and AI-driven automation. Engineers report unexpected system conflicts during testing. Which strategy is most effective for ensuring seamless integration? A. Use modular testing and iterative adjustments to resolve compatibility issues step by step. B. Proceed with full-scale production despite unresolved conflicts. C. Isolate each component permanently to prevent conflicts. D. Assume that software updates will fix all issues in the future. Answer: A. Use modular testing and iterative adjustments to resolve compatibility issues step by step. Explanation: a modular testing approach ensures that individual components function correctly before full-scale integration, reducing system failures. Option B is incorrect because unresolved conflicts can compromise aircraft safety. Option C is incorrect because isolating components permanently may prevent them from functioning together. Option D is incorrect because software updates alone cannot address all integration issues. Question 19. When scaling up operations that experience significant growing pains, a technology startup rapidly expands its cloud infrastructure to support increased user demand. However, latency issues and service downtimes become more frequent. What is the most effective way to scale operations while maintaining system reliability? A. Implement auto-scaling and load balancing mechanisms to dynamically allocate resources. B. Continue adding servers without analyzing performance issues. C. Rely on customer complaints to identify problems after they occur. D. Shut down expansion efforts until the system is redesigned. Answer: A. Implement auto-scaling and load balancing mechanisms to dynamically allocate resources. Explanation: auto-scaling and load balancing distribute computing resources dynamically, ensuring stability as demand increases. Option B is incorrect because unstructured scaling can lead to inefficiencies. Option C is incorrect because proactive monitoring prevents service failures. Option D is incorrect because halting expansion delays business growth. Question 20. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections must remain stable, a telecommunications company upgrades its 5 grams network infrastructure but notices signal disruptions in certain regions. Which solution best balances network expansion and reliability? A. Conduct real-time performance monitoring and optimize signal coverage based on user feedback. B. Deploy infrastructure upgrades without testing their impact on existing networks. C. Ignore signal disruptions and assume customers will adapt over time. D. Reduce network expansion efforts to avoid potential disruptions. Answer: A. Conduct real-time performance monitoring and optimize signal coverage based on user feedback. Explanation: real-time monitoring and user feedback allow telecom companies to optimize network coverage without compromising existing connectivity. Option B is incorrect because untested deployments increase failure risks. Option C is incorrect because customer dissatisfaction leads to loss of market share. Option D is incorrect because limiting expansion restricts long-term growth. Question 21. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical constraints, a healthcare facility is implementing new patient data privacy regulations. However, doctors and nurses find that strict access controls slow down critical care processes, leading to delays in emergency treatment. Which strategy best ensures both compliance and efficiency? A. Implement role-based access controls that allow emergency overrides when needed. B. Remove all access restrictions to prioritize speed over compliance. C. Require doctors to submit formal requests before accessing any patient records. D. Ignore compliance requirements and continue using the old system. Answer: A. Implement role-based access controls that allow emergency overrides when needed. Explanation: Role-based access controls balance security and usability by ensuring that medical staff have appropriate permissions while still enabling emergency overrides when necessary. Option B is incorrect because eliminating access restrictions would violate privacy laws. Option C is incorrect because delaying access to patient records can compromise emergency care. Option D is incorrect because non-compliance can result in legal and financial penalties. Question 22. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures, a global financial institution notices that its fraud detection algorithm occasionally flags legitimate transactions, causing customer complaints. The bank must balance security and user experience. Which solution would best improve fraud detection while minimizing false positives? A. Use machine learning models with adaptive thresholds to refine fraud detection accuracy. B. Low fraud detection thresholds to avoid customer complaints. C. Require manual approval for every flagged transaction. D. Ignore complaints and assume fraud prevention is the top priority. Answer: A. Use machine learning models with adaptive thresholds to refine fraud detection accuracy. Explanation: Machine learning models with adaptive thresholds improve accuracy by learning from past transactions, reducing false positives while maintaining effective fraud prevention. Option B is incorrect because lowering detection thresholds increases fraud risks. Option C is incorrect because manual approvals slow down transactions and increase costs. Option D is incorrect because ignoring customer complaints leads to dissatisfaction and potential loss of business. Question 23. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a disaster relief organization is coordinating efforts after a hurricane devastates several cities. Limited resources must be distributed efficiently and fairly to maximize impact. Which strategy best ensures an effective and equitable disaster response? A. Use real-time data analysis and priority-based allocation to send resources where they are needed most. B. Distribute supplies evenly across all areas without assessing specific needs. C. Prioritize wealthier communities to maintain economic stability. D. Rely on manual decision-making without using data tools. Answer: A. Use real-time data analysis and priority-based allocation to send resources where they are needed most. Explanation: Real-time data analysis helps prioritize areas with the greatest need, ensuring that resources reach the most critical locations first. Option B is incorrect because an equal distribution may not align with actual needs. Option C is incorrect because prioritizing wealthier communities ignores vulnerable populations. Option D is incorrect because manual decisions can be slow and prone to bias. Question 24. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be managed simultaneously, a cybersecurity team at a multinational corporation faces an ongoing data breach while also upgrading internal security systems. Which approach would best minimize damage while ensuring long-term security? A. Isolate affected systems immediately while continuing the security upgrade process in parallel. B. Halt all system upgrades until the breach is fully investigated. C. Ignore the breach and focus only on completing the upgrades. D. Shut down the entire infrastructure to prevent further attacks. Answer: A. Isolate affected systems immediately while continuing the security upgrade process in parallel. Explanation: Isolating affected systems prevents further damage while allowing security upgrades to continue, ensuring long-term protection. Option B is incorrect because delaying upgrades increases future security risks. Option C is incorrect because ignoring the breach allows further data loss. Option D is incorrect because shutting down the entire system disrupts business operations unnecessarily. Question 25. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a hospital introduces a new digital medication tracking system to reduce prescription errors. However, nurses and pharmacists report confusion due to inconsistent training. Which strategy would best facilitate successful adoption? A. Provide standardized training and real-time support to all healthcare staff. B. Let each department interpret the system differently. C. Force immediate adoption without training to ensure compliance. D. Allow only senior staff to use the system. Answer: A. Provide standardized training and real-time support to all healthcare staff. Explanation: Standardized training and real-time support ensure that all staff members understand the new system, leading to fewer errors and improved efficiency. Option B is incorrect because inconsistent use leads to confusion and mistakes. Option C is incorrect because lack of training increases the risk of errors. Option D is incorrect because restricting access limits the system's benefits. Question 26. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a retail company analyzes its customer return policies and finds that long processing times discourage repeat customers. Which change would best balance efficiency and fraud prevention? A. Implement automated return approvals for verified customers while maintaining fraud checks for high-risk cases. B. Eliminate fraud checks to speed up the return process. C. Require manual review for every return, increasing processing time. D. Reject all return requests to minimize financial losses. Answer A. Implement automated return approvals for verified customers while maintaining fraud checks for high-risk cases. Explanation: automating return approvals for trusted customers speeds up processing while maintaining fraud detection for high-risk cases. Option B is incorrect because removing fraud checks increases financial risks. Option C is incorrect because manual review slowed down operations. Option D is incorrect because a strict return policy can alienate customers. Question 27. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues arise and a company integrates on-premises and cloud-based solutions but experiences latency and synchronization delays, which strategy would best improve system performance? A. Implement edge computing and synchronization protocols to reduce latency. B. Abandon cloud-based solutions and rely only on on-premises infrastructure. C. Accept delays as an unavoidable issue. D. Upgrade on-premises hardware without addressing cloud integration. Answer A. Implement edge computing and synchronization protocols to reduce latency. Explanation: edge computing and synchronization protocols optimize data flow, reducing latency in hybrid environments. Option B is incorrect because cloud solutions offer scalability and cost benefits. Option C is incorrect because ignoring delays impacts performance. Option D is incorrect because hardware upgrades alone do not resolve synchronization issues. Question 28. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements must be maintained, a restaurant chain launches a new menu but receives complaints about inconsistent food quality across locations. Which approach would best ensure standardized quality control? A. Develop strict recipe guidelines and centralized training programs for all locations. B. Let each location modify recipes based on local preferences. C. Ignore inconsistencies and assume customers will adjust. D. Reduce menu options to simplify operations. Answer A. Develop strict recipe guidelines and centralized training programs for all locations. Explanation: standardized recipes and centralized training ensure consistency, preserving brand reputation and customer satisfaction. Option B is incorrect because variations can harm brand identity. Option C is incorrect because customer dissatisfaction leads to revenue loss. Option D is incorrect because limiting menu options does not address quality issues. Question 29. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, a manufacturing company is integrating robotic automation with existing human-operated machinery. However, communication breakdowns between systems cause production delays and safety risks. Which strategy would best ensure smooth integration and operational efficiency? A. Implement a unified control system with real-time monitoring to ensure smooth interactions. B. Allow robotic systems and human operators to work independently without integration. C. Rely on manual interventions to resolve automation errors. D. Disable automation features until operators are fully trained. Answer A. Implement a unified control system with real-time monitoring to ensure smooth interactions. Explanation: a unified control system with real-time monitoring enables better coordination between robotic automation and human operations, reducing errors and delays. Option B is incorrect because independent operation eliminates the benefits of automation. Option C is incorrect because manual intervention slow down production. Option D is incorrect because disabling automation prevents productivity gains. Question 30. During the introduction of new methods where coordination across departments is required, a financial services company is adopting AI-driven risk assessment models to improve loan approval processes. However, departments struggle to align on implementation and data sharing protocols. Which approach would best facilitate smooth adoption and cross-departmental collaboration? A. Establish standardized data sharing policies and cross-functional training for all departments. B. Allow each department to use the AI model differently based on its own needs. C. Keep AI implementation limited to one department to avoid coordination issues. D. Rely on trial and error to identify the best approach over time. Answer A. Establish standardized data sharing policies and cross-functional training for all departments. Explanation. Standardized data sharing policies and cross-functional training ensure that all departments adopt AI models consistently, maximizing efficiency and decision accuracy. Option B is incorrect because inconsistent use undermines the model's effectiveness. Option C is incorrect because limiting AI to one department prevents company-wide benefits. Option D is incorrect because trial and error can lead to inefficiencies and errors.